The Ibanez Tubescreamer pedal is one of the most famous overdrive pedals that has ever existed. It is one of the most common pedals to be found on a professional guitarist pedal board. Now Ibanez have brought out a mini one. Oh, look at it, isn't it cute? Seeing as this is my favourite guitar pedal and the one that I've used the most over the years, and this one is half the size and half the price, I thought I would do a review video of them to let you guys know what they sound like and if this one holds up to its bigger brother. So the first thing that we notice here is that I got rid of my Union Jack rug. I know, I'm sorry, it pained me too, but it was time for it to go. It was in need of replacement. The second thing that we notice is how cute this little guy looks. Look at him, he's so little. Now if we just do a quick tone comparison here, so this is a clean Fender Stratocaster, playing an E major chord. And so things that I am hearing initially are a little bit more noise on the Tubescreamer Mini. I think that's quite evident. From looking above, it is incredibly hard to see where the tone and level controls are actually facing. They are facing. Everything at the moment on these pedals is at 12 o'clock, but a little bit of white there wouldn't have gone amiss. One good thing about the Tubescreamer Mini is it doesn't need this extra adapter which a normal Tubescreamer does. This is just fitting into a normal 9-volt power adapter, whereas this one, there's a converter, the adapter actually comes with it, but I actually bought the Tubescreamer normal one second hand off of eBay and it didn't have that with it, so obviously someone's lost it, so they can get lost. That seems a real shame, and they're the only pedal that I know that do that. That have this extra thing that comes with it. Let's start to see what the range of tone is kind of like. So the real range is going to be shown on the overdrive. That is with the overdrive right down. Still doing plenty of work there, but when it's cranked high, Tubescreamer with the overdrive. Initial impressions are there's not too much between them. It's holding up really well, especially for half the price. Let's keep everything the same but do the same thing on a Les Paul. So we'll take the overdrive off initially, so that's totally clean. Let's hear what these things are really doing. So that's where we're hearing when we go totally clean. That's where we're hearing that, you know, for me the Tubescreamers, they don't work great with clean. I know a lot of you will disagree with that. It sort of gets too splodgy and that lacks that directness. It needs a little bit of crunch on the amplifier for us to hear it at its best. can make that keep going. That sounds cool. So of initial impressions, not a lot to choose between these two. And, you know, although the Mini Tubescreamer is small and it's hard to see the tone and level controls from up above, it is going to, frankly, these mini pedals, I'm a big fan. They take up a lot less space on a pedal board. And if you start to get 5 stomp boxes or more and having tuners and battery packs on your pedal board, it can end up getting a little bit silly. It can end up getting kind of big. And that can mean that if you're ever taking your pedal board anywhere to practice or a gig, you know, you're having to sacrifice some pedals that you might want to take. So I think the mini pedals are a really good shout, and that Tubescreamer is better than any kind of Tubescreamer clones that I've come across, at least recently, you know, that stayed in my mind and that I can remember hearing and thinking, that was a good one. This one's better than any of those, I would say. One thing I would like to compare it to, just to throw a spanner in the works, is an OD3, the overdrive pedal by Boss, which, in my opinion, possibly has a better kind of crunch sound and is better to, if you have your amplifier on clean, it can give you a better normal overdrive, but also be a boost if you want it to. That was my opinion in sort of initially. Let's have a listen to it. So I'm now very clean on my guitar sound, on the clean channel. Let's have a quick listen to the OD3, which is a very popular pedal. And then compared to the normal. And there you can kind of hear, hopefully, just the different purposes of these pedals. The Tubescreamer really does sort of amend your tone somewhat, and should always go before your amplifier, because it's designed to make your amp word harder, but only sort of bringing out certain frequencies, which is fantastic for making it cut through. A lot of people use this for their rhythm sound, and that's just not my preference. A lot of fantastic guitarists do it. It's used on a lot of recordings and live, but I don't choose to use it for a rhythm sound. That OD3, in my opinion, would give a better rhythm sound if that's what you're wanting to use it for, as like it says, an overdrive pedal. The Tubescreamer, the best way I can describe to you the purpose of the Tubescreamer is when I was last playing in my old, it was a rock covers band, I'll be honest with you, and I was going through an orange Dual Terror, which has sadly been discontinued, but it was a fantastic amp, and I'm a big advocate of 30 watt and 20 watt valve amps. I think there's so many out there. And when you really, I used to have that on about half at 30 watts. And when you put a Tubescreamer in front of that, it really just sang like nothing else. I seemed to have endless sustain. I seemed to play better. All my notes were being captured without the tone suddenly just being oversaturated, like a distortion pedal, or like, a Rat, or, some other famous pedals might do, really saturating your sound. All the tone was coming through. It was still my amplifier sound, but it just accentuated certain frequencies when the amplifier had some crunch on it already. That's the purpose of a Tubescreamer, in my opinion. That's what I would use it for. If you are wanting an overdrive pedal to give you a better rhythm guitar sound, something like the OD3 might be a better option for you. As a boost, as also using it as a boost, as I have previously described. There's a little bit of overdrive on my sound. Really, that's with everything. Actually, the tone's down there a little bit, because I do really think that this the volume difference on this overdrive is kind of astonishing. And I would say that that's a real competitor to this. That's the reason I'm demoing these two. On a cleaner, just with a bit of bite on the sound. really kind of believe, in my opinion, and with the pedals that I have available to me now, which are mainly Boss ones to be honest, because they are more common, but for the people that generally watch my videos, which tend to be on the beginner to intermediate side rather than people who are gigging every Saturday night, the OD3 may, or something similar to that, may be a better option because you've got more scope of tones and you're not reliant on a great sounding valve amp and then the Tubescreamer really bringing those out. I do use the Tubescreamer often in my videos when I'm doing a lot of lead guitar tutorials or things like that, or I just need typically a little bit more sustain, but I've not heard as much impact with it as I used to when I was gigging regularly and practicing with a band and really kind of cranking the overdrive up on a valve amp really. And something like the OD3, I've got a DS1 down here, but they're just not really comparable. Of the things that I have available to me at the moment, that's the comparable pedal, and I really think, you pays your money, you takes your choice, but for the same kind of money, this one has more range. This one does a great clone of this one, and but if you're really passionate about the Tubescreamer sound and you're wanting to go vintage, I would be getting a TS808 because that's the one that I chose to get back in the day and I've never regretted it. We will see how much, this one seems a little bit more flimsy on the pedal and the click switch and stuff. Only time will tell how well that lasts. But the Tubescreamer Mini sounds like a TS808 for me. There are other Tubescreamer pedals as well. My preference is for the 808, and there's some difference between them, but not a lot. My preference is just for the 808, as I say. Hopefully you've enjoyed that video. Let me know your questions that this has maybe brought up for you, and let me know other pedals that you'd like me to compare, what pedals you're interested in getting, what you would like to see from my guitar channel, and I will see you in another video. Rock on, guys.